Most people think being broke means spending less. In reality, it means paying more for everything. And once you understand this, you'll never look at money the same way again. Picture this. You're driving to work, already stressed, maybe running late. Your mind is somewhere else. And then it happens. The check engine light turns on. Your stomach drops. You pull over, look it up, and realize fixing it right now would cost about $300. Not great, but manageable in theory. Then you check your bank account. You have $42 until Friday. So you do what millions of people do every day. You ignore it. You turn the music up. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later. 2 months go by, and then the car breaks down on the highway. Now you need a tow truck. That's $200. The original issue damages the transmission. That repair is $2,000. You miss work. You lose income. Your stress spikes. That original $300 problem just turned into a $2,500 disaster. This isn't bad luck. This isn't laziness. This isn't irresponsibility. This is math. And here's the part that really messes with people. From the outside, this looks like poor decision-making. People say things like, "Why didn't you fix it earlier? Why didn't you plan better?" But those questions assume you had options. When you're broke, most decisions aren't decisions at all. They're forced moves. You're not choosing the cheaper option. You're choosing the only option available to you. And the scariest part is this. The system quietly profits from that moment of weakness. Every late fee, every overdraft charge, every high-interest loan, they all exist because someone didn't have cash at the exact wrong time. That's not personal failure. That's structural pressure. There's a name for this, but almost no one talks about it. I call it the poor tax. When you don't have money, life charges you extra for everything. Not because you're bad with money, but because you lack one thing: liquidity. Here's the simplest way to understand it. A wealthy person buys a $50 pair of boots. They're well made and last 10 years. A poor person can only afford $10 boots. They fall apart every year. After 10 years, the poor person has spent $100 and still has wet feet. The wealthy person spent $50 and stayed comfortable the entire time. Being poor is expensive. And what makes this even more brutal is that it compounds silently. No alarms. No warnings. Just slow damage. You feel it as constant stress. You feel it when you hesitate to open your banking app. When a random phone notification makes your heart race. When one unexpected expense feels like it could collapse your entire month. That stress costs you more than money. It costs you sleep. It costs you focus. It costs you confidence. And when you're exhausted and overwhelmed, you don't make optimal financial decisions. You make survival decisions. This shows up everywhere. Take groceries. If you have money, you buy in bulk and pay less per item. If you don't, you buy small quantities at higher prices. Same product, higher cost. Look at banking. If you have money, banks reward you with interest. If you don't, they punish you with fees. One forgotten subscription pushes your account negative by $5. Suddenly you're hit with a $35 overdraft fee. You effectively borrowed $5 for a day and paid 700% interest. The rich earn interest. The poor pay it. Cars work the same way. Someone with savings buys a reliable used car with a low interest rate. It runs for years. Someone without savings buys a cheap car with a high interest rate. They end up paying far more for something that breaks sooner. They're paying a risk premium simply for being broke. And this is why advice like, just budget better, or just stop buying small things, feels insulting to people who are struggling. Because the problem isn't coffee. The problem is friction. Everything costs more energy when you're broke. Simple tasks take longer. Simple mistakes are punished harder. And small setbacks snowball into major setbacks. That's why two people can work the same hours, earn similar incomes, and end up in completely different financial realities. One has margin. The other has none. Margin is the real advantage. Here's where most people get trapped mentally. They think the solution is more income, a better job, a side hustle, a lucky break. And while income helps, it doesn't fix the core problem by itself. If every extra dollar immediately gets eaten by fees, interest, and emergencies, then earning more just means running faster on the same treadmill. That's why so many people say, I make more money than I used to, but I still feel broke. They didn't escape the trap. They just upgraded the cage. So here's the truth. The first goal isn't getting rich. It's stopping the bleeding. The most powerful investment isn't stocks, crypto, or real estate. It's escaping the poor tax. That's why the first $1,000 matters so much. It turns emergencies into inconveniences. It lets you fix small problems before they become disasters. It lets you buy once instead of buying twice. That small buffer changes how you think, how you breathe, how you decide. Being broke isn't a moral failure. It's a mathematical penalty. And once you see the math, you can finally start breaking free. If this changed the way you think about money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. This is Tom Invests, breaking down money so it actually makes sense.